Does my hair look okay? All right, let's do it. All right, guys, what's good? Welcome back to my channel. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about a workout schedule and the best workout schedule for you, the individual. More or less, I want you to consider a few things while choosing your workout schedule. So as you can see, I have 3 bullet points here, and then I have some question marks on the other side. So I'll get all the way to that. And within this video, I'm going to cover, hey, what should you be doing if you can only work out 0 to 1 day, or 2 to 3, or 4 to 6, or if you are working out 7 days, what should you be doing? What does your workout schedule look like? So if you guys end up liking this video, please hit that like button or that thumbs up button, and then subscribe to my channel so you guys can know when all of my new videos are going to be coming out. So I tend to get this question a lot. I think a lot of it's because people just don't know. You know, if you haven't been in the industry before, you haven't planned your own workouts, you haven't studied it, you don't necessarily know what's best for you. It's like, you know, choosing the best medication for you when you never went to med school, right? You have no fucking idea, and I just think that's why people ask the question a lot. So hopefully we're gonna hash a lot of this out here. The one thing that I will say that I wanna preface this entire video with is something is better than nothing, right? When it comes to working out, comes to exercise and fitness, doing something, like if you like to go run, or you do Zumba classes, or you get in the weight room for only 15 minutes a day, something is better than that nothing. So if any of you are out there and you're struggling to start, you don't know where to start, just start by, putting your shoes on and going out for a walk, right? Some type of activity is going to snowball into bigger and better things. But just to sit there and do nothing is not enough, right? We need to think about being active. We need to do something and make sure that we are being physically active in some way. So I just want to preface it with that. It does not, it doesn't make me happy when people, you know, when they just bash activity. I tend to bash like fitness classes and running because I think there's more optimal things. But that something is better than doing nothing and sitting on your couch like a fucking sack of potatoes. All right, so let's get into the board here. I think as I go through these things, it's gonna help you really decide what kind of workout schedule you should have based on overall days, right? So the first thing that I want you to consider is your goals, right? So what is your goal? Do you just want to gain a little bit of muscle and tone up? Do you want to gain, 15 pounds of muscle and be jacked and huge? Do you want to be a bodybuilder? Do you want to be a powerlifter? Do you want to do CrossFit? Do you want to be a better runner? Do you want to build your endurance? Do you just want to, have some abs and have more sex with people? I don't know, but you have to decide what you want, right? If you have a piece of paper around, write down just even one goal, right? And by all means, your goal could be that you just want to train more consistently, right? Or you just want to make activity or strength training or working out a part of your lifestyle. That's fine, but you just need to know what that is, right? So we can set realistic expectations and goals, right? The second thing that comes with goals, and I think it's arguably more important than goals, is commitment. What are you committed to, right? You can have goals, but are you actually committed to waking up every morning, tracking your food, getting in the gym early and often, training hard consistently, knowing that it may not be in 3 months, a month, or a week. It may actually be more like a year or 6 months to your transformation, right? So are you committed to what it's going to take to get you to that goal? Fine, right? And I think it's okay to be very self-aware, right? Like, for example, I am not committed to trying to be a powerlifter because I just don't want to. I don't want to have to take all of that time. I don't want to spend that much time in the gym to, lifting really heavy weights consistently and doing that whole programming. I don't want to do that. So I'm not going to be a powerlifter, okay? You may be more self-aware that, hey, you're not going to get in the gym, 6-7 days a week. So maybe your goals are dialed back just a little bit. You just want to get in 2-3 times a week. Okay? But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to get at is you need to be self-aware of what your goals are, write those down, and then be self-aware about what you're committed to actually doing on a weekly and monthly basis. Number 2, that's a beautiful clock right there. Don't make fun of it. Okay? Beautiful clock means time with a question mark. How much time do you have? Right? Do you have, a half hour each day? Do you have 2 days a week? Do you have 3 days a week? Do you have 4 days a week? You know, do you have only weekends? How much time do you have to be able to train consistently? And when I say time, I more or less mean days. I think it's way more important to train consistently throughout the week as it is to training really, really hard and long for 1 or 2 days. All right, so at the bottom here, I have feelings. And you're probably like, why does this kid fucking care about my feelings? How does that have to do with a workout schedule? And I more or less mean, how are you feeling, right? Are you usually sore? Do you have aches and pains? Are you tired? Do you even feel like going to fucking work out? Did work just kick your ass and you really don't usually feel like it, right? So what is the level of how are you feeling? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it usually like you're pretty motivated? And this can change, right, as your program goes on, right? You can start your program and all of a sudden like you're really fucking sore after day 2. Maybe you take day 3 off, or maybe you switch some things up, right? So those are all things that you can consider, but you really have to consider, hey, usually on a regular basis, how am I feeling? Am I motivated to go work out? Am I not motivated to go work out? What can I do? And it kind of all draws back to those overall commitments. What am I committed to doing on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis that's going to be most consistent for me, right? Okay. So now that we have these things here, we're going to transition. I'm going to change up this board a little bit, and we're going to talk about, you know, the 0 to 1 day, 2 to 3 days, 4 to 5 days, 6 to 7 days, and how many days you could actually train and what you should be doing on each given one of those. So we'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back. Now that we've kind of gone through those criteria, let's start to break down, you know, what you should be doing based on the amount of days that you can train, right? First, let's start off with this right up here, 0 to 1 days, right? I personally think that if you can only commit to training 0 to 1 day per week, we need to prioritize training a little bit more, right? You know, and I know very well that training 1 day a week isn't going to get you shit. It's going to get you nowhere, right? Yes, like I said before, something is better than nothing, right? But 1 time a week, guys, even getting out and going for a run, doing some push-ups and sit-ups in your house, like, it doesn't need to be a very long time. You just have to make the commitment and fucking do it, okay? You know, I know that sounds harsh, right? And I mean to come off harsh because the fact that you're telling me you can only train 1 time a week is bullshit, right? Unless you're the most fucking busy person in the entire world, which I guarantee you I could take off the busiest CEO or whoever you know, and they have time, they probably take care of their body in time to train. So it should be a priority. You need to make it a priority, okay? So let's get into this 2 to 3 times per week. And I personally think that you should really try, and your bare minimum should be 2 times a week, if not 3 times a week, okay? Right? We need to make sure that we're doing typically mostly full body routines, right? And the reason being is we want to hit as much musculature as possible during that week typically if we're well rested as many times as we can, right? So I like to hit body parts at least 1 time, if not 2 or 3 times per week. And it's all really dependent on how sore you are and how you're feeling, right? If you can train on Monday and you're not really all that sore and you're well recovered, you know, on Wednesday or Thursday, then train those body parts and those movements again, okay? So, you know, a full would maybe look like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Say, you know, you can even, and there's a lot of different ways you can split this up, right? You can go just straight up full, like you hit full body, you do 1 exercise per body part, and you get the hell out of it, right? You could also do like an upper push, lower pull, so something like presses with some type of hip hinging, like deadlifts or RDLs. You could also go the opposite. You could go upper pull, like pull-ups, chins, seated row, dumbbell row, anything with your back, right, with a lower push. So some type of squat, whether it's barbell squat, front squat, goblet squat, lunges, whatever it may be, okay? And then, you know, the last day, maybe you go into a different full body. Maybe you choose a different auxiliary exercises. You do a couple of the same ones, a couple different ones, and you get still full body stimulus like that. So I would try and keep the exercises the same on each day or on each week, but make sure as we kind of move through the week that you're having a little bit of variation in the overall exercise. Does that make sense? Cool. Let's move on to 4 to 5 days a week. This is personally my preference. This is how I started training. This is how I feel the best. at least with like intense days. So what I have here is if you're doing anywhere from 4 to 5 days a week, I really suggest an upper, lower split, right? So you're doing all upper body one day, all lower body the next day, right? All upper body, all lower body. Now, we kind of come across this thing within fitness of the 48-hour rule. And what I think people think the 48-hour rule is that optimal recovery time. A lot of studies show that, first of all, optimal recovery time is different based on the individual. How much are you sleeping? What are you eating? Are you hydrating enough? How trained are you, right? I have personally found, and I consider myself a decently trained individual, I've personally found that it's more like 72 hours is optimal for my performance in the gym, right? So what I have here is this little circle here. What that means is a rest day, okay? So upper, lower, rest. So say Monday upper, Tuesday lower, Wednesday rest, and then Thursday upper, Friday lower, right? Also, what you could do is you could do some type of different stimulus. You could do a little lighter. Say you want to go out for a run outside and do a jog. Maybe that's more of your training day. Or you do like an active rest circuit, right? Some type of little conditioning, not very heavy weights, but you're still getting some activity. That's a great option for that rest day as well. And then you might be saying, okay, well, there's 2 other days left. Those are either for rest or maybe some light walking. Guys, training doesn't always have to be super intense, right? And it shouldn't always be super intense. There's days where we can be active and we can recover from those lower intensity days very quickly, and then we can start to train hard again, right? So I think for hard, intense, heavier lifting, upper, lower, rest, upper, lower is the optimal one there, okay? The reason that you wouldn't want to do a full body routine if you're doing 4 to 5 days a week is now we're hitting a lot of the same muscle groups consistently over the course of the week. So say you went upper, or say you went full. Now it's like, okay, we never are giving our muscles any time to rest, right? It's not optimal for them to grow, right? We're probably gonna end up getting injured. Okay, now let's get into, if you were a very, very serious exerciser, you want to maximize your gains, you have a lot of time on your hands to be able to train, then hey, if you're committing to doing 6 to 7 days a week, I think there's 2 ways that you can do this, okay? Actually, there's 3 ways. First of all, I want to say this about anything workout fitness-wise. People have made progress doing a bodybuilding split. People have made progress doing upper-lower. People have made progress doing full, okay? We need to make sure that we are self-aware and doing what is best for us and what we enjoy doing, right? I think it's a big part of it. If you don't enjoy your workout plan, it's not going to go very far, okay? So the one thing that I don't have in here, the 3rd way, is that really typical bodybuilding split. Yes, push-pull lower is very similar to it, but your typical bodybuilding split would be like chest tri, back bi, lower and shoulders, arms and abs, back to chest tri. So that kind of old school, very novice bodybuilding split mentality. A lot of bodybuilders that I follow and know are more or less doing some type of push, pull, lower. And that's the first one that we're going to talk about here. So push, pull, lower, what that would mean is, hey, you're going to be doing any type of pressing motions on, say, Monday, right? So, your triceps, your chest, your shoulders, any type of pressing motions on Monday. Tuesday, or the next day, whatever you train, you can do pulls, right? So chin-ups, rows, single arm rows, like we talked about before. Anything rear delt or biceps, right? Anything of a pulling motion with the upper body is where you're going to input that into the pull day, okay? Almost done. And then the last one would be lower, right? So that Wednesday you may do all lower, both squats, hinges, single leg work, calves if you want to, glute work, okay? That's what you would be doing on the lower day, right? Now after that, because obviously we're only 3 days into the week, I would do a rest day, right? And then you could do push, pull, lower again. So you are taking 6 days and training that way. I personally don't enjoy that way. My joints and muscles don't necessarily feel, my body doesn't respond well to it. I'm more of an upper lower fan, but that's not saying you can't do it, okay? The second way that you could do this would be a form of an upper lower, right? If you wanted to train more often but enjoy doing upper lower, which I personally do, I would do some type of upper lower and then you can kind of choose what that third day would be. Is it a circuit? Is it more a conditioning circuit? Is it a high intensity class? So you can choose what it is, but this kind of leaves the door open for you and to input how you like to train, right? We always just have to consider, are we getting enough rest, right? How does our body feeling? And are we ready to actually train intensively again? Okay, so there's two different ways that you can do that. I personally think that if you are someone that's training 7 days a week, you should at least take one rest day. You should be, if you don't want to do that, then hey, make that 7th day, like I said, a longer walk, right? Or some mobility session, stretching. All of these things still compile into training, right? They're still going to help you optimize your time in the gym and your efforts in the gym. Having that consistent stimulus of 7 days a week, if you're lifting 7 days a week, you're eventually going to notice that you're going to be really tired. We need to make sure that we're providing ourselves with enough rest to recover. Okay, so I don't really ever suggest 7 days a week. Some people are like, oh, fuck you, dude, I'm gonna go do whatever I want. Fine, that's okay. All right, but overall, we can start to see this, right? We can start to see what the best schedule is for you based on the amount of days that you want to train. Okay, so I hope this helps, guys. If you guys have questions for me, by all means, go ahead and throw them in the comments below. If you liked the video, if you didn't like the video, go ahead and shout it out. I would love to hear it. You guys can find me on social with all the links up below as well. And yeah, until next time, I will see you when I see you.